guys, and welcome back for another tutorial. Today I'm going to be featuring another maker from Sophisticated Craft Designs. So Jassy made this adorable little pouch and I'm going to show you how to make it. So I'm just going to show you a little bit about the pouch first so you can get an idea of what we will be making today. But of course all the information you need to get your hands on this pattern will be in the description box below. So this little pouch here has adorable little features. It has a vinyl, as you can see, a vinyl zipper pouch in the front. It has the main pouch here. On the back it has an adorable little slip pocket with a little button there. And then we have this little pocket here, and that is just to slip a couple tissues in. And then we also have our little D-ring holder there, so you can put a D-ring or you can attach it to a lanyard. This is a perfect little pouch that you can throw in your purse if you want to store your masks or your hand sanitizer, especially with the tissues in the back. You can kind of keep it all together, or you can put this in your kid's backpack this September. It's such a perfect little pouch, great for anything, even cash, you know, just to slip into a little clutch or something like that. So I'm super excited to show you how to make this, and I hope you are too. I did make a few other ones. How adorable. I think this one's my best one actually. But yeah, so let's just get straight into the tutorial.
Okay, so I have all of my pieces cut out. Today I'm going to be using cotton fabric, and I did use a medium weight interfacing on the outer pieces. So the ones that have the little bee design. I'm using this clear vinyl, which is a 16 gauge vinyl. So whatever durable, strong vinyl you have on hand should work fine. Okay, so the next thing you're going to need is 2 zippers and then a set of snaps. The pattern calls for a number 3 zipper and a number 5, but I'm going to be using 2 of the same zippers. So it does change the measurements a little bit, but not too much, as it doesn't really affect the pattern a whole lot. So that is totally fine if you don't have a number 3 and a number 5. So the first thing I'm going to do is put my zipper on my little vinyl clear panel. So I'm going to take my zipper with the zipper pull down, lay that on top of the flat edge of my vinyl piece with the zipper pull on the left hand side, and I'll just clip that and then I'll just sew right down. I am using a zipper foot when I install all of my zippers. If you're new to zipper feet, I do have a video that you can check out. I'll leave that in the information icon in the top right hand corner of this video. They're very useful when it comes to installing zippers, and I never not use it. So now I'm going to just do that straight stitch right down, and that zipper foot really allows you to get nice and close to those zipper teeth. So now I'm just going to fold over the zipper, and we're just folding that vinyl where we did that seam, and then we're just going to do a top stitch right on top. Now here you will see your stitches if you're using a different color zipper and then maybe like a white thread. So if you want to match your thread, or if you just want to use a white zipper with white thread, then that's totally up to you. I don't mind seeing my stitches, and of course it's better for demonstration purposes. But so we are done with that top stitching, and this is how it should look. So now we're going to take this little piece here, and we are going to put that's going to be between the top zipper and this zipper. So we're just going to lay that with the right sides down on top of the zipper, and we're going to align that with the opposite side of the zipper, and we're just going to clip that into place. Now we have another piece, which is the front panel. We're going to see this piece through the vinyl pocket. So if you want to fussy cut it like I did, which just means that I took a little piece of the fabric and kind of made it a focal point, and I sort of centered that bee, and it just makes it look a little bit more cute, so that when you look through that little vinyl pocket you can see the adorable little bee right there. So it's definitely a fun way to customize your pouch. So I just placed that on the back of it, and then I just align that with the same side of the zipper, and I'm going to do a straight stitch right along there, and then we're going to fold up the front little piece there, but we're going to leave that large panel down because that is going to be behind the vinyl panel, so That's not going to move. We're just going to do a top stitch here, and that's just going to finish off this little piece right here. So the vinyl pouch essentially is finished right now. And later on, we're just going to baste this together. So the next thing we're going to do is prepare our tab pieces. We have one for the little D-ring. So she does suggest putting a little 1/4-inch D-ring so that you can attach it with, you know, a lanyard or a keychain or things like that. So this is for that. So we're just going to make that into like a little strap. So I fold it in half, I open it up, and then I fold the sides into the center fold. And I'm just going to press that. And then I refold it in half again. And whenever I do things like this, I like to use a little tailor clapper, and that's just going to allow it to cool down, and it'll set the fabric and keep it nicely folded like that. So this is going to be a zipper tab, and this is going to be at the end of my next zipper that I use. So we're just going to do the same thing that we did with the other thing, but we're going to do it lengthways. Okay, so now that we have those two, we're just going to take that zipper tab and we will place that at the end of our zipper. So if you're using zipper by the foot, then you can easily just attach it. But because I'm using a zipper with a stop on it, I'm just going to snip off that stop, and then I'll slip this tab right on the end and just clip that into place. And then we're going to take that other tab, or the little D-ring piece, and we'll just sew down both sides to make it into a little mini strap. So I totally butchered this, so don't mind me, but this is only for my daughter, so I don't mind as much. But you're just going to sew right close to the edge of that fabric, and then that's just going to secure that onto your zipper. And then we'll do both sides of this. I usually like to bump my machine up to a 3 stitch length. This is just going to make it look a little bit more nicer, but as you can see, I'm totally struggling. My threads are a little messy, so sorry about that. And we're just going to fold that in half and put a little clip on the end of it and place that to the side. Okay, so now we can start installing that second zipper. So I'm just going to put a couple markings on the front panel. I'm just doing about 5/8 in from either side. I'm just using my little tailor's chalk here to mark that. And then we can bring over our zipper, which is a lot bigger than it should be, but you'll see what happens later on. So we're just going to lay the zipper down with a zipper pull down first. Okay, so we're just going to lay that on top, and we'll line up the edge of that zipper tab with that first marking, and I'm just going to start clipping along. And then when we get to that next marking, we're going to open up the zipper. And sometimes people like to do this portion here, and then they'll just put a few stitches in there just to kind of secure down the zipper. But I'm just gonna be a rebel, and I'm just gonna do it right here. So you kind of sort of just like miter that corner and make it like a 90-degree turn, and then so the zipper will just kind of like fall off the edge, which has a really nice look on your finished project. And then I'm going to take my lining piece and I'll place that on top. If you're a little nervous about this part, feel free to baste on the zipper first and then come back and put the lining on, and then do a final seam right there. Just if you're a little worried about that, it's totally okay to do your steps a little slower. If you're not quite advanced yet, it's totally fine if you want to do it that way. Me, I'm just, I don't know. I like things to go a little more quickly, so I will take those little shortcuts. But I definitely recommend, if you are a beginner, to base things on and then go back over it. So again, I'm using my little zipper foot and I'm going all the way down. And I am using cotton fabric, so because of that, I am quite comfortable doing a top stitch right over top of the lining. The pattern does call that you just do a top stitch on the outer fabric, but I'm going to fold my lining down and I'm just going to do a top stitch right here. I find that if you just use regular cotton, you're more likely to get the cotton caught in your zipper when you go to open and close it. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it this way. If I was using maybe a waterproof canvas and it was a lot more stiffer, I wouldn't have that much of a problem. But for the cotton, for me, it always seems to just want to get stuck in the zipper teeth. Okay, so now I'm just going to quickly baste the front of the panel. I snipped off the excess zipper from that vinyl zipper pouch and made sure that I didn't cut off the zipper pole. And I'm just doing a baste just right on the edge, like 1/8 of an inch around. And that's just going to make sure that my vinyl stays nice and flat, especially when I do the final construction. I don't want to accidentally, have my vinyl get folded up or something and then I not catch it. So just doing that quick basting stitch just alleviates a lot of headaches. So now we are going to install the other side of the zipper. So hopefully you have a clear understanding of how we did it the first time, and I'm going to make this a little bit quicker this time, but just basically the same thing. We're going to put that outer piece of fabric on top of the zipper and we'll clip that into place. And if you are using a smaller zipper like I am, that zipper tab is going to be a little bit wider, so if you want to just snip off that excess so that it's the exact same width as your zipper, you can go ahead and do that too, just so that you don't get confused and accidentally line up the fabric with the zipper tab as opposed to the zipper tape. Hopefully that made sense. Okay, so now I have my lining and I'm just going to do that seam again, and then we'll do that top stitch also. And you might need to move your zipper as you're going along, and that's okay. Even if you have to take it out of your machine, if the zipper doesn't want to go because it's getting stuck on your foot, that's totally fine. Just pull it out and then go right back where you left off. And now I'm just going to cut off the excess zipper, and then we will fold over the fabrics. Just going to zip up the zipper again, and we'll do that top stitch right along there. And I was having a little difficulty there for some reason. And we'll keep going. Okay, so now we're going to work on the slip pocket and the tissue pocket. So if you didn't want to add those, you could definitely skip to the end and omit this part. But of course, this wouldn't be Polly's pocket without the tissue holder. So the first thing we're going to do is take these 4 pieces. We have 2 lining and 2 outer. If your outer is directional, we're gonna have the directions going in the same way. Mine are not, so hopefully this makes sense. We're gonna put the lining fabrics on top, and then we're going to clip the sides that are going in the same direction, if that makes sense. Because those 2 pieces are going to come together and overlap by 1/4 of an inch, and you just want to make sure that everything is going the right way. So now I'm just going to do a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance right along one side. And we'll do that for both pieces. So if you do have the directional fabric, just make sure that you do clip or pin the sides that you want to sew, just so you don't forget. And then after that, I'm going to take it over to the ironing board, and we're just going to open those up and we'll press my seams nicely. Okay, so now we are going to take one of the pieces and we're going to place those in between the two slip pocket lining pieces. So there's going to be a slip pocket lining and then the lining of the tissue, but those are the same size pieces. So we're just going to line that up with one edge and sandwich that in between, and we'll do a 1/4 inch seam allowance here as well. And then we'll take it back to the ironing board and we'll open that up again and we will press it nicely. So I opened it up and then I folded down that one flap and lay that down on top nicely. We're going to do a top stitch along the top here, and then I did forget to do it along the edges of the part that we sewed last time, and that's just going to help finish it off. But that piece that we just did is the top of your slip pocket. So now we're going to work on installing our snaps. So we only have one snap, but we do have two sides of the snaps. So the first thing I'm going to do is figure out the center of the pouch, and then I'm going to get my chalk and I'm going to measure about a 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch down from the zipper. I like to put a marking, and then I will press the pocket lining on top of it, and then that will leave a little bit of residue just so that I can see my next where I'm going to put the other side of the snap. So that's the best way to get them like lined up perfectly. So I'm just going to take my awl and poke a little hole, and these are just cam snaps, plastic snaps. So you're just going to install them with the female end on the pouch, and then we're going to put the male end on the slip pocket. And we're doing it now just because we can get inside of the lining of that little tissue pouch. I love these little snaps. They're great to have on hand, and they're wonderful with, kids' clothing and kids, just toys and stuff like that. So I just snap that into place to make sure it fits nicely and looks good. And now we can start doing the final construction of the zipper pouch. So I'm super excited to see how it's going to turn out. So we're just going to take our little D-ring clippy thing that we have set aside, and then the other side of the tissue holder. We're going to bring the linings of the main zipper pouch together, and we're just going to clip that down nicely and line everything up. I'm even going to mark on the lining where I don't want you to sew, just because you are going to be leaving a pretty good gap here to open or to flip it right sides out. And the reason why I have it so large is because with the vinyl, especially because I'm using the 16 gauge, it is a little difficult to flip with a smaller hole. So definitely keep that in mind when you're going to make that little hole, make it a little bigger. So now we're just going to take the other side of the tissue holder, and we're just going to overlap that by a 1/4 of an inch in the center, and we'll just clip that down into place, making sure everything is as straight as you can possibly get it. And then in the center of where the tissue holder comes together, that's where we're going to put this little loop here. And that's on the same side as the zippers. And then we'll just put that with the right sides together. And I like to clip everything open first so that I can make sure. And then when I put that outer fabric flap over, then I'm just going to take the clip and then reposition it with the new layer of fabric in there. And we're just making sure everything is nice and straight. And now along the zippers on the one on the beginning and the end, or the left and the right side, you're not going to be sewing over the zipper. You're not going to be sewing over the zipper tab. So you just want to make sure that you don't hit those things as you're going around. But because you gave yourself a 5/8 spacer there, you should be okay to just go right past the zipper and have no problems. It is a little bit tough to get through the little D ring loop. So if you are just using a standard sewing machine, putting a stronger needle through, maybe a leather needle or jean needle, and don't be afraid to hand crank your machine also. That definitely can help get through the thicker areas. I'm just going to keep going. I was having a little bit of problem with my lining here. I think I need to rethread my machine. I think it was my tension was off or something. So it doesn't look the greatest, but it is the lining, so you're not going to see it. So then you just cut off the excess fabric that's around it just to make it less bulky, and then I'm just going to flip it right sides out. So like I said before, with the vinyl, it does take a minute to do this part, but just slow and steady. And if you even want to shoot it with some steam from your iron, that definitely will help to make your vinyl more pliable, especially if you're like, in the basement like I am and it's a little bit colder. The colder the vinyl, the stiffer it is, So just going to take that lining out, and we're just going to push in those raw edges. We'll do a quick little top stitch right there just to finish it off, and then you can tuck that right back in, and then you have an adorable, cute little pouch from Sophisticated Craft Designs. So thank you so much for Jassy for allowing me to make this tutorial for you, and I hope you enjoyed it. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and head over to check out more of Jassy's patterns over on Facebook. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next tutorial. Bye guys!